They don't hit either. If you look
Not
at
on the
their
road.
if you look at their road numbers, which are the only numbers that are really germane in the conversation because that stadium is ridiculous. If you just look at the road numbers, they can't hit. So I second the motion by Jeff Davis.
We do know that Yasiel Puig is evidently on the market. The Reds are trying to move him, which means they're basically calling it a day for this season. They got overrated before the season started anyway, Jeff. I think that's not a bad idea for them to try and look for a partner on a couple of their veterans.
Yeah, and I kept thinking for a long time this team was finally going to put the pieces together. You kept looking at their run differential, and you kept looking at the pitching staff, and you're like, wow, this team just doesn't give up any runs. And you look up, and it's another, 4-6 in the last 10 for the Reds. This team it's one of those teams that just refuses to win games, and I can't put my finger on why other than they don't score enough runs. And, at this point, 6.5 out with, a handful of teams to jump. We're 100 games in. This lineup still hasn't hit. It's not going to start now. Totally agree. Time to punt for the Reds.
One more that's probably going to sell, I think the Diamondbacks. They're a 500 team, and that's about what they are as a 500 team. If you play it out with the roster they have, they're probably going to end up around 80 and 80. So if that's the case, and you can get some prospects for an Andrew Jones or somebody along those lines, I guess you go ahead and do it, Jeff.
Yeah, and this is a team opposite the Giants. They're 13 and 19 in one-run games. And you look at them, they're not all that different, and they're essentially even in the standings. And it just kind of goes to show in baseball how, even after 100 games or 162-game season, how much random there really is for some of these teams. And, yeah, like the Giants, they've got some nice pieces, but they're going to be behind the Dodgers for a while, too. Like, I kind of think, maybe you go for it because what do you really, again, you might get some prospects. No matter who they get, they're not going to be as good as the Dodgers in the next 2 or 3 years. So like the Giants, you're close. I kind of think you go for it in this case.
I don't disagree with that, but I think they're going to deal Robbie Ray. I think he's going to end up with the Yankees. The Yankees have a wealth of prospects, so they'll trade him for a couple of guys, and Ray's a good fit at Yankee Stadium, so I think they're going into sell mode. And then the Phillies, who are maybe the most interesting team of all, because the Phillies think they're contenders. A lot of people think they're contenders. They went out and spent a ton of money over the winter.
I don't think they're contenders.
I don't know if they are or not, but we know that what their mentality is, Jeff, so they're going to be buying if they can.
For sure. And, Dave, we touched on the Phillies last week, and my opinion hasn't changed. They just don't get enough outs. And, when you get into the postseason, you just can't win every game 10-8. And for me, are they going to probably buy? Yes, they need to buy in the arms department. This team is way too short in the pitching department for me. That's what they need, but I don't know how much they're going to be able to buy. The Phillies are a non-contender, in my opinion.
Todd, how about the Angels? What do they do?
I don't know about the Angels. Wow, it's such a weird team, right? You got Trout, so you've got a chance, obviously. They were starting to really hit the ball a couple of weeks ago, but their bullpen is kind of so. Where is the starting? There's no starters. It's like, who's the best starter on the Angels? I can't even think of a guy who's good.
It's not a great staff.
I mean, so how are they going to make it? I mean, I guess they're going to be 84 and 78 or 83 and 79 or something. You're saying they should go and buy some pitching, but what do they have to even give? Yeah,
and look, I think they're probably looking at things and saying, look, we'll have Ohtani probably available to pitch next year.
That's true.
They're a year away. I would, if I were the Angels, I wouldn't be taking any chances. Let's talk some college football. Jeff, what's happening in the market with over and under win props, and also with the odds up for all 5 major conferences as far as winning the conference is concerned?
Yeah, last week I bored everyone with Nebraska and Oregon State. So let's talk about the SEC where people actually care about the football. Alabama over is getting absolutely blasted at the window, and we hung a dreadful number here. We opened it 11.5 under $3. It's now 11.5 under minus $1.30. We got about $100 on the under. It's completely one-sided. And it makes a lot of sense. You just look at this Alabama offense and you look at, how many times did they score 5 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns in the first half last year? Tua's back, Judy's back. Alabama figures to be just as much of a buzzsaw as they always have been. You look at their schedule; they've got road games against A&M and Auburn, and Mississippi State. I guess maybe they get beat in one of those, but if they don't get beat in one of those, they're not going to get beat. We missed the number there. Another one that's really getting pounded away on is LSU over. We opened this 9 under 50. It's now 9 flat. We have a grand total of $0 on the under.
Wow.
Everybody's really high on this Joe Burrow kid at quarterback. LSU hasn't really had a true quarterback since probably Jamarcus Russell. And, everybody thinks this guy's a game changer, and they probably need him to be. This number seems very, pushy to me, for lack of a better word. I mean, they go to Texas and they go to Alabama. If they lose both of those games, they have to win out to cash the over. They've got tough home games against Florida, Auburn, and A&M. So, we hung the under there just for that reason, and, bettors have an opposite opinion there.
What's happening with Auburn? Because that's a team I tell you that I really like this Auburn team.
The under is getting pounded. We opened this 8 over 40. It's now 8 under 40. And I think a lot of that is the schedule. You look at it, they've got
the schedule's tough.
They've got the game against Oregon to start the season, and then they have road games against A&M, Florida, and LSU, and they get Alabama at home. So, they're going to have to win one of those games and one of those tough conference games to cash this over. Again, like LSU, this one seems rather pushy to me. 8-4 looks like a likely outcome to me.
Hey, Jeff, what percentage of these win totals end up pushing, historically? I mean, because a lot of them are sitting on the whole number, 8, 9, et cetera. What percentage of them typically push?
It's hard to say because some of them end up getting bet so much that you move them.
Right.
Not to rehash last week's Oregon State discussion, we hung that 2 under 40. It's 2.5 over 50 now. So it's hard to say what percentage it is. And again, it's all in the bookmakers' hands. You could hang 11 on Alabama, but you'd have to hang 11 over $8 because are they really going to lose 2 games?
Right.
So I
it's
think
hard
it's
to
very
grade
case by case basis. That's a tough one to come up with a number.
I hear you.
Checking the NFL, just an absolutely loaded menu. If you've got the app, and you should have the app, you'll be able to check out so many things available right now. Playoffs, yes or no. And I love the individual position player props, including even some defensive players.
Yeah, the player props, the stat leader props, right now it's just Browns. Everyone's drinking the Kool-Aid. Every player prop has some type of Browns over. The season wins are getting bet over. The playoffs are getting bet yes. And I looked through the division handle yesterday. There is more handle bet on the Browns to win the AFC North than there is on any one single division as a whole. So, we're going to need to beat the Browns every week this year. And, again, it's not just the Browns. We have players in every team available, but seems like on the app there's only one team that's available
do the Browns have a coach? I know Freddie Kitchens is a coach, correct? But has he proven that he's an NFL coach?
I think they're getting overrated. I think they're going to be a decent team, but I don't see this as a championship team.
Yeah, I mean, to me, there's so many things that can go wrong. They've got a ton of talent, as much as anyone, but, they also have a lot of strong personalities, and we've seen it before. If a couple of these guys don't mesh, it can go sour, and it can go sour fast. And, I'm not saying that's going to happen here, but, man, there's no team with more hype behind it this year than the Cleveland Browns.
Let's talk about UFC 240 on Saturday at Edmonton. We have an intriguing main event here. Frankie Edgar and Holloway. This should be a good action fight, and I think a pretty good betting fight.
Yeah, for sure. Right now the public's on Edgar. He's been a fan favorite for a long, long time. You toss in the fact that he's plus 330, and the money's just going to keep coming. We did take some sharp action on Holloway yesterday, minus 380. So that's kind of evened out the money for now. But come fight time, we're definitely going to need Holloway, and frankly, I think we're okay with that.
How did Pacquiao and Thurman go for the book?
It was phenomenal, and I can't believe how much the handle was. Far exceeded anything I could have expected. And on Saturday afternoon, I looked up, and with all the handle that was written, it was less than $5,000 difference between the two sides, which is incredible. But what was the best for us, either fighter winning a decision was a giant score for us, and that happened. So it really worked out well for the house.
One thing that always works out well for the house and the clients, the customers, and tourists, locals, it doesn't matter, is the amazing array of entertainment that's available at all the Caesars properties around town. If it's a big star, they're performing at Caesars.
They sure are. We got 2 new ones, Dave. Legendary artist Van Morrison is returning to the Coliseum. 5 shows between January 31st and February 8th. Tickets go on sale on Friday. I would assume they're not going to last very long. So if you're into what he does, definitely get down to the Caesars Coliseum box office, pick up some tickets. Also, Guns N' Roses recently announced 2 shows, November 1st and November 2nd. There are still tickets available. I happen to look at what the tickets available cost. If you're interested going, I would buy those because the secondary market for these is just going to be out of control. It's going to be like a Stanley Cup game at T-Mobile, the secondary market here. So hurry up and get those.
And one thing
also, I would like to mention while we're talking about Caesars, we are going to open NBA season wins tomorrow afternoon.
Cool. And those will be available on the app shortly after that, I assume?
Yeah, right when we open it. I don't have an exact time. I would say probably somewhere in the vicinity of lunchtime. Those, all 30 NBA teams will be available both over the counter and on the mobile app.
Well, you mean all 29 teams in the Knicks?
Yeah, well, actually, I went through the numbers. The Knicks actually have a higher number than a few of the teams.
See?
Sorry, Knicks fans.
You're belittling the New York Knicks.
I guess I know one under bet I'm going to take.
There you go. The main thing is, and for those that don't have the apps yet, first off, the app itself, you don't even have to have an account to download it and have it on your phone so you can check out the entire menu. But once you decide to sign up for an account, what do you figure that the over and under on minutes necessary is? 10 maybe?
Well, I mean, to sign up for an account, it takes you longer to drive down than the process does. Once you get here, you fill out an application. It's, name, address, phone number, email, very simple stuff. I think it takes the staff 2-3 minutes to put your information in the computer. You make a deposit, and then you never have to deal with it again. If you ever want to make a deposit or withdrawal, just come down during any of the operating hours of any of the Caesars properties in the state of Nevada and make a deposit or withdrawal, and that takes 30 seconds or a minute. So, yeah, there's absolutely no reason why you don't have a mobile app.
And one thing you can do if you're at Caesars itself, once you're done filling out the app and getting your account set up, reward yourself by going to one of the restaurants because there's so many good places to eat at Caesars.
Oh, man, no kidding. We ate at Mesa Grill the other night. That place is incredible. Big old porterhouse covered with some Chipotle butter.
Nice.
Out of this world.
Nice. I wish you hadn't mentioned that part.
I haven't eaten sugar
hungry.
and carbs for 33 days, and my sugar level is down, so I'm going to pretend I didn't hear any of that, Jeff.
Yeah, we're going to talk about food with Todd in just a little bit. Jeff, it's always a pleasure, buddy. I appreciate it.
Have a great day.
Jeff Davis, Director of Trading for Caesars Entertainment, and you can follow him on Twitter at @the_junkyard. You can follow Todd Wishnev on Twitter as well. Do you have any underscores, or is it just that?
It's just at T Wishnev.
T Wishnev, and you can follow me at Dave Cokin. Todd and myself will check out our Wednesday 4 at 4 when we come back, and we'll also talk about there's a food war going on that Todd Wishnev's involved in, and we'll talk about that too.
The Las Vegas Sports Line.
This year is Terrible Herbst's 60th anniversary, and for that, we say thank you. Thank you, Southern Nevada. Looking forward to 60 more. Terrible Herbst. That's the best in the West, my friend.
Time to start planning for the 2019 swim season. Call B&D Pool Plastering and remodel your tired-looking pool. With B&D's 2019 swim season pricing, beat the rush. For a free estimate, call B&D Pool Plastering, 702-644-8980.
Guys, it's time we man up and face facts. Most of us will experience erectile dysfunction or low testosterone by the time we hit our 50s, often much earlier. And for about 30% of guys, just taking a little blue pill doesn't do the trick. With Universal Men's Clinic, we can change that. Located here in Las Vegas, we're providing convenient solutions that go beyond that blue pill. Now you can receive specialized medical care that's safe, affordable, and fit for you. Our personalized treatments are designed to help you live a happier, healthier, and sexier life. And over 90% of our patients are happy with their experience. When you feel confident and energized, so does your partner. Talk about a win-win. Here's what you do. Just go to umcmens.com/Vegas or call 702-430-6977 to get started.